Hello, everybody. Marcus here, and I have a guest with me today. It's Marcus from Aroma Time. Many of you know me. I'm on Facebook Live all the time, or you're a YouTube subscriber, or you follow us on Instagram, or you follow us somehow, or you've come to eat at the restaurant over the last 18 years, and we appreciate that. So today I have a very special guest here, and I have Dr. Bob McCauley, and I have known of Bob for many years. I've read one of his books. He has many books. But let Bob tell you all about that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk about some really stuff that you can do today to live healthier, make an impact on your immune system, stay healthy throughout the course of this pandemic, so-called pandemic, and just live your best life in general. And Bob is a living example of health. Last time we spoke, Bob mentioned to me that last summer he was running a 5-minute mile, and he's 60 years old. And I got very jealous of that. But of course, Bob, you have to work for health, right, Bob?
You got to work for it. It doesn't just show up. Health is a habit, not an event.
Love it, love it, love it. Just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I got into the bottled water business it's almost 26 years ago, and I knew right from the beginning what I had. I had a health product. This is back in the mid '90s, and anyway, so make a long story short, I could see the supermarkets were just controlling my business and deciding when I was going to come in, when I was going to be on special. So I got my own bottled water store, and people started coming in right away and filling up by the gallon. And then somebody walked in one day, this guy by the name of Don Strayer, and he said, "Have you ever heard of ionized water, alkaline ionized water?" And, it sounded strange. I never heard of it. He didn't really know exactly how it worked or what it was, how this became alkaline. He didn't know it was an MLM company that he was working for. I don't know the name of it. But so I started researching it, and that's how I got into ionized water originally. And then after that, little by little, I was already a vegetarian. I became a vegetarian in India in 1980, just because you couldn't find any good meat, anywhere to eat. I just had a backpack, and I was there 6 months, and every time I ate something, I got sick. So I sort of became a default vegetarian. But then I found out about spirulina. Somebody gave me that, introduced me to spirulina. I said, wow, this is amazing. Right away, my running time started dropping. I started feeling great all the time. And then, and then I researched it. I went out, and back then, there was really not too much on the internet. The internet was just kind of getting going. So I bought books, and I started reading. I found out about chlorella, and chlorella is the most powerful food in the world. So I found out about that. Then little by little, I start finding out about other things. Somebody came in and introduced me to sprouts. And so that introduced, then I said, well, why do I want to eat sprouts? And then I looked into it, and I found this book on the internet called Enzyme Nutrition, Dr. Howell, Edward Howell. So I read about that, and I said, the reason you want that is the enzymes. So then I became a raw foodist. What I did when I found out about spirulina and chlorella, I stopped eating any dairy products. I was eating a lot of dairy, So now I went from basically being a vegetarian to being just basically a vegan, and using the spirulina and chlorella for my protein. So that's how I got going on it. And then, like I said, over the years, it took me a long time to get there, but now I'm essentially 100% raw. So I eat just raw fruits and vegetables. That's the healthiest way to live. That's really the true path to health. But it all starts with water, and that's what you wanted to talk about more than anything else. And it's the most important thing you can do. I mean, I get up every day, and I start my day with a big, tall glass of water. It's the first thing you want to do. You wake up in the morning and do that. And it's the best time to hydrate your body, to flush out toxins. You've been fasting all night. You haven't been sitting there eating. You've been sleeping. And so this is the best time to just, flush out the digestive tract. I'm writing a new book now. It's on how to cure your body of cancer naturally. Well, I got 10 reasons in there why you want to drink water in an empty stomach. This is like the best time. It really gets in there, hydrates everything, pushes out things that don't belong there, all that kind of stuff. So this is the most important thing. And so then I have another one, okay? So I drink a liter like this, at least a liter of water. before I eat anything every day. This is the way, this is where health starts. And you never, by the way, never ever drink more than 1 liter per hour. Okay. Because your body can't process it, and it's dangerous. It's not going to help you to sit there and drink two liters.
Great. That's, I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
So 1 liter, when you wake up, how long is it until you get that water into your system?
Well,
is it within minutes? Can you wait a half hour? Is there a formula?
As soon as I wake up, I get up, I go to the sink, I get my alkaline ionized water, and I drink about half of that. You know, I drink around 8 or 10 ounces. I chug it right down. And then I get another one. By the time I leave my house, I usually have had 2 of those. So there's other things I do take in the morning. I take systemic enzymes. We don't want to get all into that right now, but those are really good. I mean, that's a good time to take systemic enzymes. But anyway, so that's how I do. Then, you know, what I always tell people, water should rule your day. The only time you don't drink water is when you're eating. You don't drink water half an hour before, during, and at least a half an hour to an hour afterwards, because you're diluting the digestive process when you do that. So you don't want to, you know, people they don't have good digestion. They have all these, you know, digestive issues, all this kind of stuff. And I ask them all the time, I said, you know, how much water do you drink with your meals? Oh, I have a big glass. I said, well, there's your problem. Don't drink water with your meals. Now, so that's just the short on water. So I'm drinking water all day long. I drink at least a gallon a day. At least a gallon, probably usually more like a gallon and a half. And again, I'm just staying away from it in meal times. And you really want to try to keep your meals to like eating and then eating again and not snacking in between, because it's a good idea if you can clear your digestive tract and then again, hydrate yourself and you know, and then eat again later. But that allows you, but if you're eating, you're just going to, again, you're really not going to digest your foods if you keep drinking water, you know, and while you're trying to eat. So it's kind of keep that in mind. Now, what kind of water? Let's start with what kind of water to drink. Well, the good water is, first of all, you get spring water. That's really good. You get that in your store. You get really well-filtered tap water. And the best water is alkaline ionized water. The stuff to avoid, purified water. So you never drink reverse osmosis or distilled water. As a matter of fact, they're 100% opposite from ionized water. 100%. Everything about them is different.
Can you just, before you go into that, can you explain the difference between spring water and well water?
Okay, spring, you know, really, they're kind of technical terms because, you know, a spring is really something where water comes to the surface of the earth naturally. So you get to call it a spring. The best water you really want to have is well water, because you want to go down to get that water. And it depends on where you are in the country. Like in Michigan, we have some of the best water in the world. We had the glaciers come here 10,000 years ago. They gave us all this gravel. Then you keep going down. You've got a clay layer of clay, so you keep out all the contaminants. And then you keep going down, and you run into what they call the sandstone formation. It's down there 300 million years ago. So it was laid down. So you're way down right into the water source, and then, you know, bring that up. So well water almost always is the best water. You know, even if you're in a farm area, unless you know there's some direct contamination of your particular well, it's almost always the best water. And then spring, like I said, springs just come up naturally to the surface. So a lot of that's going to depend on your elevation of the land, because if you have a big dip in the land, well, that water can come up to the surface. Quite frankly, going down and getting it is cleaner, because you're going down to the source rather than letting it bubble up where it can get contaminates. So spring water it's just all kind of, you know, they always tell you this is the best stuff and everything. But like I said, for my money, I would always go out and get well water. I have a well where I live, and I'm very fortunate. I live in DeWitt, Michigan. So I have a well there. So, okay. So now what kind of water, again, spring water, you know, well water, that's a good one. Well filtered tap water, and you can filter that, you know, with a carbon filter, carbon KDF filter. You know, if you're on municipal water, you definitely want to get a carbon filter for your sink if you're going to drink that water. The carbon KDF is the those two media. And then you want to get a shower filter. Very important. You don't want to be showering in chlorinated water. That's really bad. You're opening up your pores in that hot water and absorbing 12 times more of any substance when you do that. And then you're breathing in chloroform because the hot water's, that chlorine's turning into chloroform. So you're breathing that right in. So I don't ever travel anywhere without a shower filter. I got a pair of pliers and I put them, if I got to get right on the plane, 7 inches or less. Okay. Anybody want for your pliers? I get right in there, take it off, and I put on my shower filter, and then
this is right in the hotel rooms.
Right in the hotel room.
Right in hotel rooms. Folks,
yeah.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine yesterday, and we were talking about, he's a buddy of mine who we talk every morning. We talk about setting goals. He's a momentum buddy. Yeah. And we're talking about commitment. And like, people say they're committed to do things. This sounds like commitment to me. You're traveling with tools. You go to a hotel and you put on your own water filter in the shower. Folks, this is commitment. Again, health is something that you actively do. Health is something that you seek. Health is something that just falls on your lap. And, all this information you're talking about is available for everybody to go out and do their own research. But a lot of people just don't take enough time, or they're not committed enough, or they don't understand enough to do this. So hopefully people are watching this, so a light bulb pops in and says, oh yeah, I want to know more about this chlorine in the water and the effects of it and do more research. Oh yeah, it is easy to take a pair of pliers with me when I go somewhere. I'm committed to health, but I've never done that. So this is great. So yeah, hopefully this will push other people to say, okay, I'm going to do what Bob's doing. I'm as committed as Bob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's all about, it's lifestyle changes, and it does take a lot of commitment. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo, and in one of the, when you bow onto the floor, you one of the things you say is consistency, before you bow. So you're always there day in and day. And that's what this is about. It is about, you have to have a consistent lifestyle. Everybody, kind of falls off the wagon every once in a while, but it is about consistency. As I said in the beginning, health is a habit, not an event.
It's a habit. So this chlorine filter, or this shower head.
Yeah.
If you're home, you can put an inline filter in, I'm assuming, correct? So you don't have to.
You could do that. Yeah.
So if you have a fancy shower head that you absolutely love at home, right, that goes in every which direction, you don't have to get rid of that shower head. Go into the pipe somewhere to the feed and filter the water that's going in. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to do the hot and cold. I've got whole house water filters. You can do all the water in your house. So there's, you've got a lot of options about how you can filter that water. So yeah, you don't have to put on the shower filter right there. That's more for convenience, or, like if it's just temporary. Like on my house, even though I'm on a well, I still have a whole house water filter because I want to get all the junk out of the water, and I'm not worried about chemicals. But so anyway, and then now, so water, the most important thing, it really is, we always say we're 70% water. Well, we're at least 70% water. There's a guy by the name of Dr. Gerald Pollack. He wrote a book called The Fourth Phase of Water. And he talks about alkaline ionized water, which is what we're going to talk about here, being the best water, being prevalent throughout nature and being the best water in the world, and why it's found everywhere. So I heard about this, and then I got him on my podcast. And this is years ago. I don't do it anymore, but I did about an hour and a half interview with him, and he confirmed to me what I had always suspected. Alkaline ionized water is found. It is completely natural, and it is found throughout nature. So we'll kind of get into that. But what kind of water you drink is going to make a big difference, and there is the number one health product anybody should ever consider buying, or has ever been invented in history, is the water ionizer. So what you're doing with a water ionizer, you have a unit with a positive negative electrodes in it, an anode and a cathode, and then you run the water over the electrodes, and then they're separated through a membrane that's in there. And that's really the magic. That's the great invention, was this membrane that separates the water and pulls off the alkaline, basically you're creating positive, negative ions in the water, and then you're separating them. So the negative ones, which are alkaline, all go on one direction, and the positive ions all go in the other direction. So basically what you're doing is you're shifting the electrons, you're pushing them over to one side of the water. Well, that water, when you do that, so you're always producing two different waters at the same time, one acid, one alkaline. And it's just a yin yang right there. And that's the only way you can do this process. You really can't just only produce ionized water or alkaline water or only acid water. You have to have this, you have to have an anode and a cathode, basic electrolysis, right, from, you know, high school chemistry. So now what you're doing is you're shifting the electrons. Well, the water now, the alkaline water that you want to drink has become a very powerful antioxidant. So that's amazing that it comes right out of your tap just like that. It's immediately a powerful antioxidant. And it's got 3 antioxidant qualities. It has an abundance of electrons. So it's a free radical scavenger. It has a negative ORP, oxidation reduction potential. So that's the most important thing you can know about ionized water. And it's really the most important term you can ever learn about health is ORP, oxidation reduction potential, because everything you put into your body, Marcus, either increases oxidation or reduces oxidation. So oxidation is 2 examples: fire and rust. So when you cook a food, you got a raw food, it has a negative charge. You put it into your body, that reduces the oxidation of your body. Same with alkaline ionized water, reduces the oxidation of the body. So you're reversing the aging of your aging of the body. You're reducing it. You're retarding that. And when you put when you cook something, you've taken a raw food and that has a negative charge, like all raw fruits and vegetables have this negative charge, and then you cook it and then you oxidize it and then you put it into the positive zone up there in the positive area, measured again through millivolts. It's the ORP, oxidation reduction potential, measured in millivolts. And so now you put it into your body where you're oxidizing your body or accelerating the aging process. And that's what we all do. And that's what health is all about. It's all about, it comes down to that one term, ORP, oxidation reduction potential. That's why we take antioxidants. You know, you buy all this stuff. All raw fruits and vegetables are antioxidants. Okay. And then, but here we have this incredible antioxidant right at our fingertips, right in the kitchen. Turn it on and here it is, big tall glass of water, just like that, ready, full of these tiny little cloudy bubbles in there. You're just chugging it right down. There's nothing healthier for yourself right there. So you've got a negative ORP, and then you've got a huge amount of what they call active hydrogen. Now, this is something you won't find too much written in my book about that, because when I first started buying or selling water ionized and getting into this well over 25 years ago, we didn't hardly know anything about hydrogen, and it was in there, and that wasn't discovered until around the mid-2000s, that there was a huge amount of active hydrogen and how starved our body is for that. So this is another thing that is another antioxidant quality of ionized water. Again, free radical scavenger, abundance of electrons and negative charge, and this abundance of active hydrogen. Then it's extremely alkaline. Well, all disease lives in an acid environment and will not exist in a neutral or pH, where we are constantly putting things into our body and that acidify our body. All the cooked foods we eat, our lifestyles, the stress we're under. You go out and you fill up your car with gasoline. You're breathing in all these toxins, the hydrocarbons, benzene, trihalometane. You ride behind a truck. All that stuff acidifies us. The stress of everyday life. You get out and you almost get into an accident. You really get scared. Well, I mean, there's this cascade of free radicals that just goes right through your body and acidifies you, terribly. So again, what we're trying to do constantly is put things into our body that are going to bring us back up closer to neutral. And that is measured, by the way, in your urine. Okay. And the way to get your body pH is don't ever take your tongue through your tongue, because that measures you from the waist up. You want to measure your urine, and the way to be really accurate about that is do it first thing in the morning every single day for a month. And then you'll get a moving average of your pH. Because if you start measuring your pH and your urine through the day, it's going to go up and down, and you're just going to go, what's going on? Because if you drink a lot of acid or alkaline water, well, your urine can turn really acid because you're pulling out acidic waste. So you kind of, what's going on here? My pH is dropping. Well, it's not. It's pulling out all this waste. So like I said, first thing in the morning, get up, measure your urine pH, and you'll get that moving average. If you want to do that for a month, you'll see it going up if you start drinking alkaline.
Does urine color have anything to do with acid alkaline? Or what does the color pertain to?
Well, you're pulling things out of the body, so that let's put it this way: you want to make sure you get at one point during the day where your urine is clear and not always yellow. Because if your urine is constantly yellow, you're not drinking enough water. You know, the only time it should kind of be yellow is maybe first thing in the morning because you haven't been drinking water all night. But other than that, I mean, you're looking for a clear stream. I mean, and mine is. So when you see somebody with a really, really yellow urine, I mean, you know, they're not drinking enough water. And so they're collecting it, you know, it's all collecting down there, you know, in your kidneys and everything, and then finally getting pushed out. But, you know, it's like it gets to all that point, but you're not drinking enough water to push it finally out.
So you should not be able to make yellow snow.
Yeah, right.
And not you know, you see dogs when they go to the bathroom outside, it's really dark yellow.
Yeah.
So nothing like that. So great. So this is our sort of our natural barometer if we're dehydrated or not is right. By the color of our urine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great indication. You know, I mean, once you start, you know, people will say of this water, I can't believe how addictive it is. And what they're doing, you know, but we go through our lives, and so many people just learn to turn off their thirst mechanism. Your body's crying out for water. There's a great book called Your Body's Many Cries for Waters. It's Dr. Batman Galich. He passed away years ago, but he wrote this book in showing you, he was an Iranian medical doctor, and he showed how he could cure all these patients by giving them water. And this was never taught in medical school. Duh. So yeah,
right. That was one of my first health books.
Uh-huh.
I'd read that book and I loved it. And I actually used one of those principles in there. My mom had ended up in the ER. She was in there for hours. I got there hours later. Her blood pressure was through the roof. And I got there and I said, Mom, what have you been drinking? And she goes, I haven't had anything to drink. So I called the nurse over and they brought us a little tiny bottle of water. I said, no, we need water. We need water for my mom.
Yeah.
You know, her blood pressure was elevated. She's sitting she didn't handle stress to begin with well. So that was one thing.
Yeah.
But I pumped her and made her drink a lot of water. And within no time, her blood pressure started dropping.
Yeah.
And they couldn't figure out how to do that in the ER for several hours and had not given her any water.
Yeah.
And I said, she's dehydrated. Like give her some liquid, give her some water. And that's one thing I tell people all the time. High blood pressure, drink water. That's one sign. There's so many signs your body needs water. And we just don't realize it because, again, doctors aren't taught this. They're not. There's no money in giving water. There's no money in giving water.
Doctors, the medical profession, they're medical people. And medicine does not lead to health. Medicine, people say you must argue with doctors all the time. There's nothing to argue about. Health is in one direction, medicine is in the other. I mean, I don't know anything about medicine, but they sure try to tell everybody they know about health, and they know what I do, and they denounce me constantly. And they're always, you know, ND, not a doctor. So I'm a naturopathic doctor. The ND, not a doctor. I'm a quack. Sometimes I've had people send me videos of ducks quacking, you know, just this kind of stuff. But do they have any answers for health? No, they have nothing really when it comes, you know. You have to go to my YouTube channel and look up the 20 commandments of the medical establishment. Okay. The 20 commandments, because we originally had these 10 commandments from the big guy, but you know, those medical doctors, they're twice as good as nature. So they have 20. So you go look that one up, the 20 commandments of the, you know, and you'll see, you know, one of the commandments is medical students shall receive no training in nutrition. You know, or maybe 1 or 2 hours. So, you know, I mean, if you look at these doctors, they get on there, they have no training in nutrition. They have no training in, in health. They understand physiology, but physiology is not understanding health. It's understanding physiology. So they think because they understand every part of the digestive tract and what it does and how it works, that they understand health. And then they can start writing books about it. And it's really amazing to see doctors writing books on weight loss. You know, it's like, where did you learn that in medical school? No, they have the patina of authority because they're medical people. So all medical people understand the human body and they understand health, and you just sit there and be quiet and don't say anything. So that's kind of the way they operate. So anyway, that's a medical person for you. So anyway, getting back to the water and the alkaline ionized water. Yeah, you know, and I have a similar story. My mother passed away many years ago, but it's the same thing. My mother she's in there. She's had a heart condition. She's got pneumonia, and she's really sick. And so we asked the nurse, you know, can you get she hasn't had any water. Can you get her some water? Let me go ask the doctor. Oh, okay. Well, so what is the doctor going to say? Okay, no water, no water. I mean, this is the most needed thing by human beings. No, let me go ask the doctor. They don't want to make, you know, what would happen? I mean, you're going to drink the water and then what, you're going to go into cardiac arrest or something? They don't even think to do that. So it took so long. I mean, well over an hour to go get a thing of water with ice. It was all ice and some water. You know, this is the way they think. Let me go ask the doctor. So, you know, like I said, just don't go to the doctor if you want to be healthy. And me, you know, what I'm doing during this virus and everything, I mean, you know, you want to stay at home or whatever, you know, you need to take care of yourself. I'm not taking any vaccination for this thing. I'll never do it. You ain't putting anything like that in my body. You don't need vaccinations. I made a whole bunch of videos about vaccinations and why you don't need this stuff in your body and all that. So, but you can build your immune system. And I mean, build a strong immune system starts with water. That's what you got to do. I mean, you're looking Dr. Batman Galage in that book, Your Body's Many Cries from Water. He talks about something significant in there, chronic cellular dehydration. That's where your body's always in this hunkered down defensive postures where your cells really can't communicate with each other. They can't communicate within each other, within the cell itself. It's not functioning to its capacity. And so you're never, you know, operating to your full optimal health of your capacities. You're always fighting everything. You're always defensive, but hydrating cells is another one thing. And ionized water, yeah, it's very alkaline, so it raises your body pH. No disease lives. You see anybody with cancer, you measure their pH, I guarantee you they're very acidic. And the more they get sick with cancer, the more acidic they become. You look at somebody who's dying stage 4 cancer, you're going to find their urine is extreme, probably down there to 5, somewhere in there, you know. And so, you know, because their body has just become, you know, what's happened. And you see, if you go to a cancer ward, and you go up to the floor where they're all dying up there and you can smell that. Well, that's what's happened is your body has become so acidic that your body has now become, as a natural defense, begun to produce ammonia to counteract the alkalinity, because ammonia is very alkaline. So your body's basically eating itself alive at this point. It's all this acid and then it's all this ammonia. So that's the smell you have of it. That's the smell of cancer. It's the smell of cancer. And yet they ask, can you think dogs can smell cancer? They can smell. Of course, they have a very, sensitive scent, dogs. And so, yeah, they're going to smell it way before you do. We don't have that kind of scent, but they're just smelling disease. They're smelling disease. They're smelling the cancer.
An imbalance. Wow.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Is it possible to get too alkaline?
Well, okay. So that I get that question all the time. There's a couple questions. Number one, first of all, we said, people will say, gosh, if you drink all this alkaline water, it's going to wash out your hydrochloric acid. Well, first of all, you should only be producing hydrochloric acid when you're chewing. So when the whole digestive process, I tell you, if you're going to eat anything, drink water half an hour before, and then wait, and then eat, and then wait at least an hour to half an hour to an hour afterwards. I usually wait a good hour before I start drinking water again. And it's all psychological. People want this big, tall glass of water because they don't hydrate themselves on a regular basis. And then the foods that they eat are really dry. I mean, they're eating breads and they're eating stuff with their dinner. It's, they're thirsty. But this idea that you can't, you can't eat you can't drink alkaline water, destroy your hydrochloric acid. You're only producing hydrochloric acid when you're eating your food, when you're chewing. And the idea that you could just stick your fingers into your stomach and it's a pH 2.5 and then you'd come out and you wouldn't have fingers anymore, it's just ridiculous. It's not sitting down here at a pH 2.5 all the time, ready to just burn a hole through anything at any moment. So so again, that's what's happened. That's why I said stay away from water when you're eating, because you're creating digestive enzymes. You're creating, also hydrochloric acid. And then, before you've done that, ideally, you've taken some probiotics. And the probiotics are down there too. And so, because we always say if the stomach acid could kill anything, well, you would never have the stomach flu. You wouldn't have H. pylori, which causes stomach ulcers. Okay. So the idea that, everything's down there is just going to kill everything, it's not true at all. The hydrochloric acid is mainly there to break down protein into bits so we can absorb them. But anyway, so now can you become too alkaline? Well, the condition of alkalosis is extremely rare. And again, people in the medical industry will say, oh, I go into the seniors. I deal with seniors all the time, and I go into the senior homes, and they are very, very alkaline. I always take their pH. Yeah, they're taking it on their tongue. And seniors tend to be extremely alkaline because first of all, the mouth tends to be more alkaline than the rest of the body, but they have no hydrochloric acid, and they probably haven't had hydrochloric acid for 30 years if they're up in their 70s and 80s. So you can buy these little pills, hydrochloric acid pills, and you can take those. And I mean, it's about your last hope of doing that when because this little pump, the hydrochloric acid pump is long gone. You're not doing that anymore. So they come out very, very, very alkaline in the mouth. So right away, there's a dietitian, or here's a nurse, and this is their little fiefdom. So they'll say, oh no, they become too alkaline. So you're totally wrong. You know what you're talking. They're very, very alkaline, and that's not what's going on at all. And again, you measure that through their urine pH. You'd see they're very acidic, and so so can you become too alkaline? It's possible, the condition of alkalosis, but it's extremely rare considering what we do and what we put into our bodies. And you would have to almost be doing, you would have to throw your body out of balance, out of homeostasis by doing something very strange, So I've never seen it. I still continue to measure my pH, and I do it all the time. I haven't done it like I used to.
I'll make a joke with people. I'm like, well, just have a beer and you'll reverse it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so easy to get acid into your body.
Yeah.
And so I'll just make a joke like, yeah, have a beer. That's cure your alkalosis.
Yeah, exactly. So you that's not a worry. Let's put it that way. If you're worried at that point, it's like you're really doing great. You're doing super healthy. And the other thing about ionized water we haven't touched upon is that it is extremely hydrating. And that's because of the size and shape of the water molecules clusters, which are six-sided, hexagonal, and they're very, very small. Now, this goes back to this book, The Fourth Phase of Water by Dr. Gerald Pollack. And in that book, he talks about the structure of water and what he calls easy water, easy water means exclusion zone water. That means anytime you see this ionized water, it excludes everything that's around it. So they've done all these, it actually pushes it away. And it's only pushing everything away, maybe like 1 nanometer or something. But in terms of physics, that's unbelievable. I mean, you can see it doing. He's got these videos. It's really amazing. He's taken with electron microscopes. But you can see this water just push away anything like that. Well, this is what's found throughout nature and found within our bodies. So I said earlier that this is, we're 70% water. Well, Dr. Pollack says, no, we're like 99% water, because all our body's cells are made out of this hexagonal water. Everything about us is made out of this water structure when you start to look at it. So the hexagon is found throughout nature. That's how you know it's natural. You look at beehives, they're hexagons. You look at crystalline structures, they're beehives. So this is, if you want to go out into Netflix, there's a documentary series called called The Math Code, I think. And so the very first one in there, they talk about the hexagon and how this is nature's most fundamental shape, and it's the shape nature uses to use the least amount of energy, because the universe always wants to use the least amount of energy. It doesn't want to expend energy. It's always trying to conserve energy. And so in way you do that, because the shapes you don't see in nature are the square, you don't see the triangle, you don't see the pentagon, the five-sided, you see the hexagon. You see that everywhere in nature. So that's when you know something is natural, is when you see this pentagonal structure. And that's alkaline ionized water. You'll see that pentagon, or the hexagon. And that's why it's so small and penetrating. So you drink this stuff, and it is extremely detoxifying. So I was talking earlier about, we live in this incredibly polluted environment. All the stuff that's out there, you go out and breathe, you fill up your car with gas, you're breathing in benzene, trihylomethanes, VOCs, volatile organic chemicals, all the hydrocarbons, all this stuff. Well, you got to get this out of, this is what disease thrives on. If you're sick with any disease, Marcus, you know two things. You know that you're acidic, your body is acidic, and you know that you're toxic, because that's what disease lives on. So so you probably are not hydrated either. So HAD, I tell everyone, hydrate your body, alkalize your body, detoxify your body. That's what you want to do. HAD all the time. And so you want to do that with raw fruits and vegetables. You want to do that with alkaline ionized water, but it begins with the water. That's the most important thing. And I mean, to me, it's such a blessing. I even have these little sticks. I don't have one here about the size of a pen like that. And you put them in a water, shake it, put them in a bottle, shake it up, and it'll produce these hydrogen ions we were talking about earlier. And that'll give you the kind of a mild effect of ionized water. So that's what I take when I'm traveling. I take one of those sticks with me, and because it's not worth it. I'm not going to bring a water ionizer with me. And so it's just better to bring one of the sticks. So that's kind of a way to get through it. I actually sell filters that will alkalize your water and drop the ORP. It's definitely going to improve the quality of your water, but it's not the same as ionization. It's close, but it's better than nothing. But it's the number one thing you should, if you want to be healthy, if you want to make an investment in your health, the number one thing in the world is get a water ionizer. I can't tell you. I mean, I sell it by the gallon in my store here in Lansing. And I've been telling people for, I don't know how many years, as soon as they come in, I said, if you like the water, save yourself some money and invest in a water ionizer, because there's nothing more valuable than to wake up in the morning and get a glass of alkaline ionized water. I mean, that's the best thing you can do for yourself.
So we give away water here at the restaurant, especially right now during coronavirus. I want to get as many people this healthy water. So we give it away. I think we filled up 15 or 20 gallons yesterday, at least, of people coming in. I've always done it for people that have cancer. If you have cancer, if you're something, I'll give you the water. Just show up with some glass jugs and we'll fill it up for you. Not many people take me up on that, but I've always said that out there. But right now, a lot of people are taking me up on the water for during this coronavirus.
Right.
If people go to the store, if they look at all these shelves, I mean, now you literally have a whole aisle of nothing but water when you walk into a store. Percentage-wise, roughly, is that water? Are there contaminants in it? Are there things we're worried about? Percentage-wise, how many of those would, if you walked into there, knowing what you know on water, saying, okay, this water is okay for me to drink today or this week or whatever, down a whole aisle?
The only thing I would ever take, and the only thing, like when we travel, the only time I travel, I'm pretty dedicated to what I do, so I don't go to vacation. I go to travel to an expo, like I go to Vegas for the Supply Side Expo. But we go out, immediately buy a bunch of spring water. So there's a bunch of brands out there. So the number one, like, avoid purified water. Avoid it like the plague. Avoid it like, the coronavirus. It's not good for you. It's exactly the opposite of ionized water. It is five-sided. There's a product out there called Penta water. Mm-hmm. That's why they call it. It's five-sided. Well, that's not a natural shape. You do not find the pentagon inside in nature. You find the hexagon. You've stripped out all the minerals, so it's going to steal minerals from your body. It's very acid. It's going to acidify your body, and it's going to look for alkaline material to balance it. So and rainwater is not purified water. So those two aren't the same. There's things like smart water. I'd stay away from all those. There are some high pH waters out there. Some of them occur naturally, and then there's a lot of ionization now where they ionize the water first. There's a company out there who's been out there for years called Essentia, and they do ionized water. Now, it's okay. I mean, by the time, you bottle that, like if you fill that up, so there's three qualities of ionized water. There's the antioxidant, okay? 3 antioxidant qualities. That's going to last you 18 to 24 hours at the very most, okay? and then it's going to be gone because, you know, it's full of electrons. So electrons are very unstable. And this is what, again, ionized water mimics all the same qualities of raw fruits and vegetables. They're absolutely identical to one another, except for raw fruit, ionized water has no nutrients. That's the only difference. Otherwise, they both have an abundance of electrons. They both have an abundance of active hydrogen. They're both detoxifying. They both have a negative ORP, oxidation reduction potential. They both are alkaline, raise the body pH, and they both will detoxify you, although in different ways. So they're just identical. But again, so it's like really when you get ionized water, it's like you just got yourself a nice big fresh piece of fruit, except, you know, it's just water and you can drink as much as you want. And like I was beginning to say, people wake up in the morning and, you know, so many people, and I did it through points in my life where you just turn off the thirst mechanism. You reach for a cup of coffee instead of, my wife was guilty of this. Wake up, not coffee, but wake up, start eating. And, you know, you just got to get out of that habit, you know, and you got to develop these new habits and these new lifestyle changes and just start, you know, instead of getting up in the morning and going for the box of cereal and put it in, get yourself a bunch of water. And that's how you start your day. You know, like I began to mention about systemic enzymes and things, you know, there's lots of other things you can do, but that's what you got to do when you wake up in the morning. Like I said, people start eating immediately. It's terrible. I mean, this is how you end up with your yellow urine. You're totally dehydrated. And you know, when you get a kid, you know, you have a young kid, train them to drink water. I mean, my two boys, they're in their 20s now. I train them. I mean, if they go without ionized water for a while, they just are like, oh my God, they can't stand it. You know, when they go travel, cause they've got a water ionizer, and you get so hooked on this stuff because, as I said, you're getting, you know, a lot of people call it addictive. Well, when your body starts getting hydrated, just going, what's that stuff? Yeah, give me that. And your brain starts sending signals, and it starts saying, yeah, give me more, whatever's going on there. This is what I need. And so it does become addictive, but of course it's a healthy addiction. You know, really addiction is something we can't stop doing that is unhealthy for us. That's a real addiction. So if it's a healthy addiction, fine. You know, I'm addicted to a lot of healthy stuff, you know? Anyway, so if you want to fight this virus, and I've said it for years, you want to start with hydration. That's the number one thing, just being healthy in general. Now, we've talked about ionized water. So what's the number one thing you want to do to fight this disease and to fight any disease? Well, I'll tell you what I do. I don't know if I get a bottle right here. I've been making a lot of videos about this. This is silver. This is 500 parts per million silver. So it's liquid angstrom silver. We just electroplate silver into purified water. So you're down, you've heard of colloidal silver. Well, colloidal silver is about the same size of your cell, your human cell. So it's very large. So now we have technology can get them much smaller. So now we're down to the atomic size. So what you do with this, and honestly, I've been doing this for years and years. I get up in the morning, I drink my water and I take a hit of silver. And I got sick of meningitis in 2012, and I didn't know I had it. So I'm this health guy, and I just couldn't believe I got sick from anything infectious. I thought I'd been poisoned. You know, I got some kind, and it got worse and worse. I just thought I got toxic. Something happened, but you know, so I mean, I'm fasting, and I'm going into the far infrared sauna, and I'm working out, and it's just like. And I got worse and worse. I mean, there was one, let me tell you, Marcus, at one point, I couldn't barely get out of bed. You know, any normal thinking person would have went to the hospital. But, you know, but Dr. Bob, no, I can't go down to the hospital. Oh, yeah, you know, I know too much. So I didn't know. It took me 10 days to get through this. So then I traveled to China on my honeymoon later that fall. And as soon as I got to Hainan Island, it came back. And I'm telling you something, it came back with a vengeance. And then I realized I had an infectious disease of some kind. I didn't know what it was. And I had bought this little tiny bottle of this same kind of silver with me for my wife because she had the flu. So I gave it to her in Hong Kong and knocked out her flu. Well, I had literally 1.5 caps left. And I took that cap and I held it in my mouth. And within 2 hours, everything had reversed back, and I had these big welts on my legs. It felt like I'd run 100 miles. My legs were hurting. My shoulders and my neck was hurting. You know, it gets at your meningitis is your something in your menins. These cords that come down, they're from your neck into your body. Well, it just meningitis. So it just grabs these and just starts, get all this inflaming. It's basically destroying these menins. Well, that's how you get meningitis. Well, you talk about this coronavirus. Well, meningitis is 21% mortality rate. 21%. So 20, only 20% of the people survive meningitis without brain damage. Okay. So wow. I went through it without any treatment whatsoever. Now, this was such a profound experience to me that I knew God didn't have this go through this for nothing. So I wrote a book about it. It's called Silver, the Miracle Mineral, The End of Infectious Disease. And it really helped me understand a lot more about minerals in general and when they should be taken, how they should be taken. I'll just say right now, what the healthiest thing you can possibly do is fast. Stop eating. So people, I've been making all these videos about silver. So people will say, there's a guy out on TV, it's one of these television, one of these preachers, he started selling this silver solution and they jumped down his throat and everything. He said, this can kill any virus. Well, I will tell you this for sure, without any doubt. I have no problem saying this. Silver will kill any virus, any bacteria, yeast, mold, or fungus. Nothing can survive this. Now, does that mean, is it going to get in your blood and get into your blood and kill all the coronavirus? Well, you might not be able to get into your blood because you have such a crappy diet and you keep eating so much stuff while you're sick. So first of all, if you get sick, stop eating. I can tell you that. And number one, this is a lung thing, right? It gets into your lungs. This is congestive virus, right? No dairy. Stay away from dairy products. I mean, all the things, stay away from mucus causing foods. Okay. All raw fruits and vegetables cleanse the body. Okay. Mucus forming foods. The top of the list is dairy products. I mean, I used to have, before I gave up, I'm a dairyaholic, right? Everybody has, some people are alcoholics, not me. I like to drink a glass of wine. I'm good. But dairyaholic. I mean, there was never any kind of dairy in my life that I love to eat. Okay. You name it, sour cream, cottage cheese, milk, dairy, cheese, hard cheese, soft cheese. The only thing I couldn't stand is buttermilk. It's the only thing I couldn't other than that, but I gave all that up. And when I did, my sinuses cleared right out. I used to take this Afrin stuff and I was putting that into my nose like crazy 30 years ago. And it just cleared out. I just drained out and cleared out completely. And so that's the number one thing. Stop putting these foods into your body. But when you're sick, stop eating. And then if you expect something like this to be effective, then you need to clear your blood. Because what you do is you take a small amount, put it in your mouth and hold it in your mouth as long as possible. And then the molecules will go into your body through your sublingual duct under your tongue. So this is the most effective way to take minerals right here. But if you just ate something and you do that, I used to do live blood analysis. I kind of stopped doing it for some reasons. I made a video about it, but live blood analysis is really amazing because if you take a before and after, when you eat something, you look at your blood, it's pretty clear. As soon as you eat, it's just a mess. It is. And it's almost like, doesn't matter what you eat, but if you eat, like go to McDonald's and eat that crap, I mean, you got all this Rouleau, this stacking, I mean, I've seen people, I saw one guy had Lyme's disease. I mean, it looked like he had flying saucers in his blood. I mean, things that just don't belong there. You got these worms that were going on. The worms would go on for screen after screen after screen after screen. And who knows how long they were. And, but that's what's in your blood when you're sick. And this guy, by the way, not only did he have Lyme disease, but he was a junk food junkie. I mean, he lived in an area where he was surrounded by fast food restaurants. So, Tuesday was Taco Bell and Wednesday was McDonald's and pizza was on Thursday. I mean, that's what his diet was. And so clear the blood, stop eating. Fasting's the healthiest things you can do. And this will be effective. Okay. And that's why it was so effective. First of all, I already had an immune system. My immune system was built up. I was already, you know, I'd been on raw food diet, done all that stuff. Let me tell you something. When you're sick, that's not the time to think about building your immune system, because it takes a long time to build your immune system. So when you're sick, you want to start trying to build your immune system, but that's not the time to do it. It takes years and years, in part because, you know, you got to look at somebody's history, especially when they were a child. If somebody was really sick, or they never had probiotics, and they had really, really super bad breath, smell, you know that they've had some serious damage to their digestive tract. Young people with diverticulitis and irritable bowel, this destroys your digestive tract, and so it destroys your immune system, because all disease comes from your diet. I'll tell you that right now, Marcus. All disease comes from your diet. None of it is inherited. When you go to the doctors, the first thing they do is they give you what's your medical history?
Family history.
You got cancer in your family, this in your family.
They don't ask you, do you sit down with your family and eat potato chips?
Yeah.
And eat fried chicken they don't ask you those questions. They just say, you know, what's the family history?
Well, they want to find a scientific answer to disease so they can cure the disease. And there is no scientific cure for anything. All disease is a result of imbalances in the body that you've created through your diet. And you could say, well, you know, the EMFs and all the, you know, the 5G, all that crazy stuff going, I mean, that affects our health. There's no doubt. If you look at this coronavirus, you'll see there's been a major pandemic every time we have changed the frequency of the earth dramatically. You take the 1918 pandemic, Spanish flu. This is the first time that radio waves were used around the world. You look at the pandemics of the 2000s. You know, you're looking 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G. I mean, every one of them corresponded with this virus outbreak, and it's because when you change the electrification of the earth, some people just don't react to it well. I mean, they just can't. You know, they freak out. I know a guy I know out in California. He says, I got 5G all around me now. He's right there in LA. And he says, I can't take it. I mean, he said, my wife doesn't get affected. I can feel this thing. There's something called ELF, extremely low frequencies. And they use this HARP system for communication down in the Southwest. Well, it's very, very low radio waves. I mean, these are really, really long waves, you know, and there's people out there that they can hear woo, 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 and it drives them out of their minds because they can't, you know, no one else can hear it. So some people are more sensitive to these frequencies than others. And that's why so the idea is these viruses are always kind of lurking out there, and suddenly there's a change in the electromagnetic frequency of the earth that we've done to it. And suddenly people become very susceptible, and we have this pandemic. So,
I know people who turn off their routers at night, their internet at night.
Yeah.
Go to sleep in their house. They turn it all down. They shut it all down.
Yeah. Not a bad idea at all. The EMFs is a real big problem. And again, everything we're talking about will help you protect you from that sort of thing. Again, putting the right substances into your body. What we're looking for are negative ions. Ionized water full of negative ions, raw fruits and vegetables full of negative ions. I'm up here in Michigan, so what I've got in my house and around here is negative ion generator, because we're in boxes. And we're in boxes because it's so cold outside. Well, what happens is in the fall, you strip out all the negative ions out of the air with all this weather. I mean, Aristotle was writing about this thousands of years ago. And so we strip out all this negative ions out of the air, all this cold air comes in, and now we're left with all these positive ions. And, you know, in Michigan, then you get into your house, a box, and you build up all these positive ions. So this is where sickness can happen. And there was something years ago called sick building syndrome. I used to work in New York, and they had sick building syndrome. Well, a lot of it was just negative ions. I mean, positive ions that had built up in these buildings. And they started putting out these negative ion generators, and people started feeling better. And they're very inexpensive. You could use ozone. And the ozone, I would highly recommend you get yourself an ozone generator, because ozone kills anything. Nothing can survive ozone. But again, yeast, mold, fungus, nothing can survive ozone. And then you're generating negative ions at the same time. But it's all about putting negative ions into your body and surrounding yourself with negative ions in the air. You take a shower, that's negative ions. That's why you feel better. Even when you're sick, you go in, take a shower, you feel a little better. You're surrounding yourself with negative ions. And you can buy negative ion generators. I saw air purifiers got a negative ion generator with it. But, you know, so positive ions is the environment of sickness. And again, and so all your cooked foods are positive ions, and you're putting that into your body. So, so you want to create this negative ion, you know, environment within your body. And again, as I said, yeah, we're exposed to all these toxins, and that's what disease lives on. So it's all about, you know, we're going to die. No, just get the toxins out.
Get the toxins out.
Chlorella. You know, I sell chlorella as the best food in the world to grab onto heavy metals, herbicides, pesticides, pull them out of the body. I have a detox formula. You know, I use carbon in my detox. I mean, so each one grabs onto these things in a different way. And as I said earlier, fasting, that's the healthiest thing you can possibly do. So what would I do if I had the coronavirus? Well, I'd stop eating, you know, don't eat anything. You kind of, you know, take silver, get it into the bloodstream as much as possible. You can swallow the rest of it.
That bottle of silver you're holding.
Yeah.
It's called angstrom silver.
Liquid angstrom silver. Liquid angstrom. So you're down.
How much is a dose?
About a teaspoon. One teaspoon. Yeah.
And is that something you take directly?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just usually put some in the cap, take about the cap full like that, and take about like that. So like that. Take it, hold it in your mouth as long as possible. It'll get into your bloodstream. Okay. And like I said, it'll kill anything in there. But you can't go around saying, hey, this will, first of all, there's no food and there's no mineral or anything will ever cure you. Only your body can cure itself. That's it. Only the body is capable of curing itself. So there's no medication. There's nothing you can take. So what this will do was kill off this virus, this bacteria, whatever you got going on, and then now your body can begin to heal itself. That's what this is going to do. But again, if you're just sitting there and eating, this might help you a little bit, but your blood's just clogged full of crap. And especially if you haven't lived on the way I've been living for the last 20 years, which I was on almost 100% raw food diet, because then you're cleansed. But I'll tell you, Marcus, if you woke up every day and you had the kind of energy, clear thinking, I don't feel tired. I have tons of energy. You wouldn't want to go back.
Right. When people clean up their diet, they understand what one food does.
Yeah.
Something like, oh my gosh, but they're just, most people, it's a normal feeling of what's normal, and it's not normal.
Yeah. So
this angstrom silver, is this something somebody would take on a regular basis as preventative, or ramp it up in a time like this? Or when would you use this? When would you not use it?
Well, so I use it constantly myself, and even as healthy as I am, I pretty much get up in the morning, I drink a bunch of water, I take a hit of silver. I've done it for years and years. So I would recommend the average person, you probably want to do it 2 or 3 times a week. It doesn't build up in your body. There used to be turn your skin blue. You could become blue from drinking. You'd have to drink gallons of it. And that's colloidal silver, which is a huge molecule. This is angstrom. We're down to the individual atoms of silver. And you can sanitize. I sell it in little spray bottles and stuff. I mean, you can sanitize your hands.
You can spray your face mask, your mask that you're wearing.
Your eyes, spray it right in your eyes. I mean, if you got pink eye, spray it right in your right in your
beautiful.
Eye. If you got a sinus problem, take some and spray it right. Get it in there, because what happens in your sinuses, it's very warm. There's all this mucus. The virus gets in there and it's found a home. It's got a nice moist home, and maybe you've got a bacterial or a viral infection. Who knows? And so it's got a nice warm home. So when you have these sinus headaches and sinus problems, you never get rid of this virus. It's always there, and it just comes and goes. It comes, it comes out. Oh, I got a sinus, so it's never gone. So you want to clear, you can put one of this into one of these neti pots.
Oh, yes.
You can get purified water and put it into a neti pot, get it in there, circulate it through. Absolutely. You want to clear that out. You want to get all that clear. And then another thing I sell, if I have any here, is bismuth. Now, bismuth is another one. That's what they put in Pepto-Bismol, and that's what kills all the stomach bacteria. And so you know, what you want to do actually is kill everything in your digestive tract. Because the average person, I guarantee you, has got all sorts of unsavory, you know, viruses, bacteria, yeast, mold, and fungus just living down there. The average person, guarantee it. So the best thing you can do, I have something called Parasite Killer Blend, where it just kills everything. It's got 13 different powders in it and just kills everything in your digestive tract. I recommend silver. I recommend bismuth. Bismuth will take care of Lyme's disease, and it'll take care of H. pylori that causes stomach ulcers. That's what you want for bismuth. Bismuth for that. And again, you want to take that and swallow it down right away. I guess that's the only one I recommend you swallow immediately to get right into your stomach and kill it. But you kill everything off, and then you put in the friendly bacteria. You get in the probiotics. I'm very big into probiotics. Fermented foods, that's prebiotics. You know, things like, you know, kimchi, or, you know, sauerkraut. You can make fermented foods. It's just salt and water. That's always salt and water. You know, those are really, that's the kind, you want that microbiome, that healthy microbiome down here in your digestive tract, which is, nobody ever heard of the word microbiome 10 years ago. Now it's like, everybody, microbiome, you know, hey, but it's just really keeping that bacteria healthy inside your digestive tract is critical. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you, you know, probiotics on a regular basis every single day. I never miss, again, as healthy as I am. I do digestive enzymes. I talked a little bit about systemic enzymes. They're great for taking down inflammation in the body. But again, it's all meant to put your body in a position where it can heal itself, because that's what you want to do here. And only your body can heal itself. So the idea that, you know, I'm touting a cure I'm not touting any cures. I'm touting the cure. You know, you want the best physician in the world, go look in the mirror. There you'll see the best physician in the world, yourself. And it's the only physician. They can prescribe all the drugs they want. They can treat symptoms and, you know, they're really just enablers, because they give you this and enable you to keep eating and having this
right.
food.
They don't have the real conversations with you.
Yeah.
Like right now, the message from the CDC should probably be a lot different. I hear nothing about nutrition. I hear nothing about sunlight. I hear nothing about vitamin C at all. No. I hear nothing about drinking water. No. All I hear is just what's, you know,
stay inside.
Stay inside. Our economy, our world's coming to an end. All this kind of stuff. This is all you hear is this doomsday stuff all day long.
And it's just, and the negativity alone is enough to, because you know, I have a 7-component health protocol, and number 7 is maintain a positive mental attitude, and it's not helping people to have them sitting at home worrying about if they're gonna make rent this next month or not.
Right,
you know?
right.
Whether they're gonna have money for food or rent, or, you know, what are all the landlords gonna do? Just stop collecting rent? I mean, I'm sure these banks are not gonna just say, oh, forget about those loans.
Everybody's in the same position. We're all in the same position.
Yeah.
If you're another business owner, another restaurant, we're all in the same position. It's not like your situation's unique.
Yeah.
So, and you can't control what the government's doing to us right now. You can control your health. You can control your thoughts. Focus on all the things you can control. I went the other day and I fixed up my garden at the restaurant, because I know someday, very soon, my back garden of the restaurant's going to be packed, and it's going to. And I can't focus on what's happening now. I have to look into the future.
Yeah.
Take care of myself and have lots of positive thoughts going in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have the 7-component health protocol. Basically, water, spirulina and chlorella for protein, raw fruits and vegetables, probiotics and prebiotics, angstrom minerals. I sell a full spectrum mineral, and vigorous exercise every single day, no more than about 25 or 30 minutes, and then positive mental attitude. But if you do all the other 6 things and this is against you, you're not going to make it. This has got to be on your side.
Great
and if
point.
you only do this and you don't do the other 6 things, this isn't going to be enough. You know, years ago,
It's delusional.
Steve McQueen got cancer, and he was trying a lot of meditation and positive thoughts. Well, you know, he died. So, I mean, you just got to take both ends. There's a physical and a spiritual part to it, and we work. It's synergistic. It's all one big thing. So
sort of like Jim Fixx, the runner.
Yeah.
How did he could eat McDonald's, all this and that, because he ran, and then look what happened to him.
Yeah, exactly. And all these other ones, you know, Phelps is another one, the swimmer. I mean, he's on a junk food diet, and it'll catch up with him. Yeah. There was a woman years ago. She was a speed skater, And I mean, she was one of the world's top speed skaters, and they did a documentary on her body. It was called, I think it was called like The Human Body. You can find it out there. And I mean, here she was, a high-end performance athlete, eating garbage, just chips and, you know, Twinkies and you name it. And then she'd go burn it off. Well, you know, yeah, when you're young, you can get away with doing that, but there's only a matter of time. You know, the human body is the human body. We're all 99.999% genetically identical to one another. And so the idea that this diet works for you and this doesn't, well, in the end, it's always comes back to the same diet and the same thing. It's the raw food diet. So what you look at things like blood typing and what foods work for you. Those all work very well in the cooked world. But as I said, when you more and more you get raw fruits and vegetables into that, you'll see we are less and less different than we really thought. We are all
absolutely
genetically, and we're the most genetically identical species on the planet. You look at monkeys, and there's wild variations between species, whereas the human species there's no one really is so genetically identical as species as we are. And I will say one other thing, and people doubt me about where disease comes from. Show me any evidence of chronic disease in the wild. Show me one guy that shot a deer out in the middle of nowhere and brought it back and found it full of cancer, arthritis, fibromyalgia, or any other high blood pressure, any other chronic disease. We're the only species on Earth that get chronic disease other than the animals we domesticate and put on
exactly.
a processed food diet. Infectious disease is rampant throughout nature. It's everywhere. We know there's viruses. We know there's bacteria. Plants get gets viruses. There's a bacterial disease that's wiping out the banana crops down. The Panama disease is, scary. It's wiping out the bananas. So we have infectious diseases are out there. But chronic disease, nowhere in the world, nowhere in nature. And that's how you know how unnatural chronic disease is.
Yep. Yeah. Good point. Really.
So yeah, we maybe we can get on again here, and
absolutely
I can talk about some immune building qualities or products. I like chaga tea. Oh, chaga is an amazing, some of the mushrooms. I mean, there's, like you're saying, to me, all this is self-empowerment. It's about, you're healthy or you're sick because of the decisions you made. So people say, well, then that's not fair. Yeah, God didn't put us here on the planet to get sick. It just didn't do it. So this is a message of empowerment. You got yourself into this, and you can get yourself out. You don't have to go to the doctors. You don't have to wait for the government. You don't have to wait for the doctor to say, yeah, okay, go, let me go ask the doctor for some water. Take control of your own life and don't let these people run your lives. Right. And this is again, a message of such liberation. That's why I love doing this. It just, people can take control of their lives and take control of their destinies because every bite of food you take and everything you put into your body is ultimately going to be, God's going to take you when he wants to, and that's it. But in the end, I'll tell you one of the few, you'll probably never hear anybody ever say this to you, but I am not going to die of a disease. Period. I know I'm going to die. I don't know when. I know God's going to take me when he wants, but it's not going to be of a disease. It's going to be accident, murder, assassination. Mm-hmm. I would never commit suicide. You don't give back God's greatest gift, your life. So it's one of those three. So I know it'll probably be an accident, but I'm not going to die of a disease. And again, that's a great message of liberation for people to know you can empower yourself and take control of your health and take control of your destiny.
Absolutely. Yeah. So real quick before we finish, you own a company called Watershed.
Yeah, Watershed Wellness Center. We're here in Lansing, Michigan.
And what are some products that you sell?
Well, my biggest thing is the water ionizers. We sell the water ionizers. We sell what I'm really famous for is the water ionizer, and chlorella. I'm the biggest importer for chlorella and spirulina in the U.S. I don't buy anything from China. Never have. Okay. And because in my business, we have all known for a long time, they contaminate everything. They can't be trusted. They'll give you a great product for the first time, the second time, and all of a sudden it won't be the same product again. Something will be different. Something, the Chinese have ruined a lot of natural health companies in this country by, having to move along, and all of a sudden they get crap from this company and it ruins them. And I could give you names of companies that have happened to. So, but I'm big into the spirulina and chlorella. These are the two most powerful foods in the world. My biggest product is spirulina and chlorella together in one package. I don't have it right here, but that's my 50-50. But they're 60% protein. They're two most nutritionally dense foods in the world. They've got the broadest array of nutrients in the food. They're the greatest storage foods in the world. If you're worried about storage foods or prepper foods or keeping stuff down in your basement, I always have 10 kilos of this stuff down there because you never know what could happen. Okay. I have it in tablets and powder. You want the tablets for that kind of stuff. So
I throw 5 tablets of spirulina into my smoothie every morning.
Okay.
It turns my smoothie this beautiful mint green.
Mm-hmm. Right. So if you take a small handful of chlorella, or depending on the size of your hand, of spirulina or chlorella with your meal, that's all the protein you need for that meal. So if you want to eat meat, fish, eggs, or dairy, it's strictly for the taste. But these are so there's 60% protein, the strongest foods in the world. So that's what I do there. Then, I've written a whole bunch of books on health. I'm writing one now, as I mentioned, on cancer and how to cure yourself. That's kind of going to be my master work. I've written a book called, 7 Components of Great Health, Silver, the Miracle Mineral, the End of Disease, God's Path to Disease-Free Living, what the scriptures tell us about health. But I got all these, these are astaxanthin capsules. I have a whole line of herbal extracts. I sell something called CGF, Chlorella Growth Factor. I combine it with tablets as well. That's highly concentrated chlorella. That's the best immune system builder in the world. CGF, Chlorella Growth Factor, or chlorella extract.
Okay. Which I was reading about that last month.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Mercola, somebody had it on about chlorella and immune and how just So let's talk about the water machine super quick. You said you're selling ionized water. What do you sell a gallon for at the store?
$1.50.
$1.50 a gallon. Okay, so what is a machine retail for? The machine start and retail at?
They start at $735 and they go up to $2,000. I have 2 different models, and the difference is the number of plates, because that's what they're titanium plates coated with platinum, so that's what drives up the cost. But at any rate, I have 3 plates and 7 plates. Rarely do you need 7 plates. The only reason I started taking 7 plates is because, sometimes you need a stronger water, and then other times you just need, people don't have enough minerals in the water to begin with, because you have to have minerals in there for conductivity, because that's how you produce it. So you can't use purified water.
I was going to ask that. You couldn't run distilled water through there. No,
it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. You would see a change. You would see something change, but there's no there. It's going to go right back right away. Okay. It's going to shift some electrons, but it's not, it's not the real thing, because there's been experiments run on that. But anyway, you need the minerals, because purified water is hungry water. So it's hungry to steal something from, it's not natural, so it's very acid. So it wants to balance itself. Everything in nature always wants to balance itself. So that's why we have tornadoes, because you got the hot air and the cold air, and they're mixing together and they create tornadoes. So that's how we end up with this kind of stuff. So purified water needs to be avoided for that particular reason. So it's just not, it's just not natural. But at any rate, where were we?
Oh, the machines, the price of the machine.
Oh, okay. So you really don't need a 7-plate unit. So that's the bottom line. Almost nobody needs a 7-plate. So yeah, it's $735. Absolutely the best,
Great.
health product you can get and buy for yourself. There's something called a far infrared sauna. That's amazing. I would say that would be number 2, but nothing compares with the ionizer. It just is really one of the greatest gifts we have ever gotten. And it has been so trashed by so many people. There's been so many people have called me snake oil salesman. They said it's not natural. Mercola was against it for years and years. I heard he still won't admit that he drinks it. I heard that
he has one. I heard he has one.
Yeah. And he denounced it back in 2010. And, he should just come out and say I was wrong. I would. if I'm wrong about something, I'll come out and say I was wrong about that. But, you know, I'm pretty careful about making statements. So, but yeah, he had somebody that didn't know anything about ionizers or anything. And he just got on there and trashed ionizers and water alkalization and all this stuff. And it's just unbelievable. So he's not alone. There's several other people out there. So I've always stuck with it because I know what it is. It's completely natural. And if, again, you read Dr. Gerald Pollack, The Fourth Phase of Water, in his book, it's not a real scientific book. It's really written for the layman. He's out of Washington State University, PhD up there, Pollack, and just a real great water guy, and not a health guy, but he knows his water, and he was the one who was able to show what's going on with that. I was really amazed about the work he did with that. Yeah.
Good. Excellent. So at Aroma Time, of course, we have an account with you, so we can get people water ionizers. I have several people interested now, so I think we're getting ready to place an order with you very soon here. What is the Liquid Angstrom Silver run retail?
$74.95. So that's 500 parts. I've got another one that's 200 parts. I think it's around 55. And then I have one that's 2,000 parts that comes in a glass jar. That one you kind of best to dilute it, you know, so it's a little bit, you can save some money if you want to do it that way. But yeah, you know, you can get this from us. Everybody can get this stuff from you. Our chlorella or spirulina, just have them all go through your website. We can give you pricing, all that kind of stuff. That'll easily last you a month. And one thing I will tell people, just remember, don't ever put a price on your health. Just, you know, you can't take that money with you and you're going to pass it along to your family, whatever, you know. And the other thing is that, you know, as you get older, like I said, I'm not going to die of a disease. Well, when you get sick, you know, it's up to you to take care of yourself. Otherwise, you're going to become a burden to your family. And now you're not a positive force. You're not helping out. You're not picking up the laundry. You're not going out. You're not doing. You become a deficit, and now you're somebody that needs to be taken care of. So you got to look at it like, hey, you got to, you know, and they always tell you in the airplane, you know, when the masks come down, put yours on first and then help the people next to you, because if you start trying to put on little Sallys and Johnnies, you might not make it, and then everybody dies. So take care of yourself first. Do the same thing with health. Take care of yourself and then help those around you. And that's what I do. I'm always the strongest person around me, and keep myself strong for that reason, so I can be healthy. And that's what it's all about. So yeah, the chlorella, these are great immune system builders. The CGF, we sell those in capsules, and we sell them with, you know, spirulina and chlorella with CGF and tablets. You know, that's that 45-45-10, that one of our most popular ones. So yeah, all those, and you know, I've got a whole list of other immune builders, and we can talk about those the next time.
Great. Yeah, we'll do another phone call definitely soon. This was fantastic. It was amazing. And thank you for dropping some really, really important, vital information to keep everybody healthy. We appreciate that. And watershed.net, correct?
Watershed.net. Absolutely.
Watershed.net. All right.